Welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn, and wow, what a fun week this is going to be. Some of you, maybe not so much, like if you're working in a mall, but for many of the rest of you, from this Monday to and through Cyber Monday, we'll get all your Christmas shopping done. But really, the main thing is Thanksgiving, of course. And that doesn't just mean a large turkey. It means family, it means food, and it also really means reflecting on and recognizing that we do have things to be thankful for, regardless if we feel like those, one like one outweighs the other. And I know that I have this past year been under, and this summer, I feel like I'm one of those. But you stop and think, and it doesn't take a lot to realize that there are still many, many things to be thankful for, and I try to remember that. But need a little help sometimes. So, okay, now, let me get the business out of the way. First, let me just address, and then we won't really have to do it much anymore, the new phone number. Right, so mostly for those of you who have not changed any kind of speed dialer or phone number you have automatically stored in your phone or whatnot, the number that you see on the screen now is the new number. If you happen to call the old number, all it's going to do, it won't forward you, it's just going to tell you the new number for you to dial. So that number that you see on your screen, that is the one that you need to dial to find us on. Make those changes where necessary. Okay, that's done. Next. Asif at first, when we were talking about the Thanksgiving schedule, wasn't sure about, the crew and the staff, and I totally understand being able to put together the team to create the show during Thanksgiving week. I know, everybody deserves a break and get away, and that we all just have to do what we have to do to give all those other people a chance to have a little extended time. But I did mention if we couldn't do and record the show the following Monday. In other words, not during Thursday, which of course would be Thanksgiving, but the following Monday, meaning this show, instead of seeing it on Monday, next Monday, it will be on Tuesday. And I know that will be a sigh of relief for many of you. And it has come out many different times, because I often remember that it was in perfect coordination with Cyber Monday. Because this being on YouTube and a podcast, it's a cyber show, at least, from my understanding of these things. It has worked out to do those kind of sales and whatnot. But we are going to bring them to you. Better a show on Tuesday than no show at all. And besides, I want your full attention. Monday, when you're on the computer, people are around, might get you a little distracted. I want your full attention, because I have something to tell you. In that show, now I've been getting a little confused, so I have to make sure I really know that I can pull this off. Okay, yes. All right. This started about 3 decades ago, 25 years ago. It's not going to be a big, long story, but it could be. I had one of my 2 jewelry stores that I created, and it was in Chambly, which is within what we call the Beltway, or you guys in DC, they call it the Beltway. Here we call it the Perimeter. But anyway, it's within the outer 16-lane highway that circles the city. So it's an inner city called Chambly, but it's also known as an antique district. And for a decade, my business thrived there. Before that, I actually was associated with another business that had been there for like 18 years or so. And when that person retired, I got his clientele as well. And so with one of those clientele came a husband and wife. They were both had their doctorates in education, very, very smart, and didn't have any children. The best way to describe my client was she was a collector of collections. And Raven and I had been invited over to their house on a couple of occasions before she passed away. And there was her personal collection of jewelry far exceeded what would be a chain of jewelry stores inventory. I am not kidding you. It was overwhelming even for me, who has seen and used to seeing that much jewelry. It wasn't just jewelry though. And by jewelry, I'm not talking about costume. I'm talking about fine silver, but the overall percentage of weight was gold. And I remember like one of the custom rings I did for her. Remember waterfall rings and that design when they were in and popular? She wanted a bigger waterfall. I custom made a 13 stone, 8 carat total weight waterfall ring for her. You're gonna get to see it. You're not only gonna get to see that ring, but you're gonna get to see other pieces that by the grace of the universe and everybody else out there that loves me, the estate has come full circle, and what I thought would always be an opportunity for me to get my hands back on pieces that I haven't seen for decades. There's very few collections left of my items. In other words, I made pieces for her over a span of probably 2 decades. And it is to see those items again and to be able to tell you that I'm getting to revisit them this Saturday. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to be able to show them to you and give all of you in our small but growing rock community the first opportunity. Like, remember the ruby ring? I haven't talked about it, have I? No. It brought tears to Raven's eyes when she heard the word sold in another show. And we'll leave it at that. Love that ring, but I had to do what I had to do. And so, like I said, but all of you got the first chance at that ruby ring. So will you on some amazing pieces. And I'm not talking about pieces that are so out of price. I'm just saying they range in a vast swing of prices. And I just can't wait to see which ones of mine are left. And I say are left because she loved crosses. You might have even heard me talk about that before. And she would actually custom design those. And and most all of them would be, 3 inches high on a 3 to 2 scale, 3 inches high, maybe 4 inches high even. All would hand rolled out of gold, sawed. I did so many things. There was an issue, and this is actually a word of wisdom for all of you out there. Keep this really in your thoughts. If you have anyone that is elderly and you have in-home health care come in of any kind, I'm not knocking any one branch. I'm just giving a security warning, having been in this business for 5 decades, that you have to put up or hide extensively, any kind of valuables if you have in-home therapy, in-home healthcare, in-home anything. And what I thought was a massive loss of inventory isn't quite so large. So part of my job, knowing the inventory, is going to be just really to assess how much is missing. I actually had a lot of pictures that I was able to provide the investigators at the time, but so at that point I thought I would never get to see this estate again. But I've been working on it, and now, yes, it is going to get to be mine. And I'm so excited because I know everything about antiques, okay? That's just a side, thing that I've always liked and enjoyed. Not everything about antiques. I know almost everything about rocks and minerals and stuff, but antiques I know way more than the average guy, let's say. It doesn't matter if they're stereo viewers or whatnot, opera glasses, all that kind of stuff. There is a lot of those things, but there is one thing. Actually, there's a couple. There's also a ivory collection. Now, that's nothing we can do, trade or anything, but it was collected back when historically people cherished it and collected it. So that's an old estate that will probably stay wrapped up and put away. But here is the exciting thing. I can't wait. There is a nephrite and jadeite carving collection. And that is really, really exciting. So I'm just going to end it there because until I see everything more. She also had some different other mineral specimens just for decoration. She wasn't really focused on that, but there's no telling what else I'm going to find. You're going to be the very next ones to see it. And I'm going to have the week of Thanksgiving. Now, my son is coming one day. I'm going to have that week to be able to process these items. We are going to have an amazing show for you the week following Thanksgiving. Do not miss it. Do not miss it. Okay, so that's just the little teaser before the preview, before the movie that we have coming up, and no telling what I may really get to see. But for me, one of the exciting things is to be able to revisit some pieces that I never thought I would get to see again. And if I showed you just even the one picture, but I'm not. I have one picture, a ring tray picture, and she had bigger knuckles, so the rings are a kind of a larger overall size. But there are 80 rings crammed into this one tray, and it's just one tray, and that's just the rings of many others. Yeah, exciting. Oh, gold and silver. I am going to be able to offer you gold and silver necklaces, chains, things that so far below the market and compared to any other opportunity that you would have to make the kind of values. Well, your time is right for saving money and the opportunity because I think there's still a lot of that left. Like I said, at one time I had seen everything, and there was so much of it I couldn't even remember it all in my head. So I'm excited about what's left, and looking forward to that appointment. And then I get to see my son afterwards. So this also is my opportunity to remind everybody, remember what you're to be thankful for. I'm a little bit more bouncing my step because it has been a difficult year for me. But if this, and it's always one of those things you don't want to like jinx yourself or get ahead of yourself. But I've already been loose lips, sinks, ships, quiet for months working on this. So now it's been confirmed, and the jade collection I'm really excited about. So, and the reason being because in a situation like this, I can, I'm going to be able to offer you things that are well below any other market you would find these in. Even if you went to another estate market that like does these estate sales, there's buyers and sellers premiums if you do it in an auction environment. These other sales that are professionally run, those, because you're talking about, well, is it nephrite, is it jadeite, or is it bowenite, serpentine. You have to have professional appraisals done on carvings before you can ever even sell them or offer them. You would have no idea what they were. They would have no idea what they were. That costs money. That raises the price. They don't do that ahead of time. To put a $50 or $75 appraisal into what would end up being maybe a $25 serpentine carving or a $50 serpentine carving, and then to sell it, have to split it with the homeowner type thing. Yeah. So the way I'm going to be able to offer these items is going to be best for all those, all the way around. So that's a show to watch, as is this one. Let's get to the comments first, the questions. Not many comments, so that's why I went into my other little commentary there. So the questions. Now, what mineral was named after a professor of geology at Yale University? I also gave you the hint that it was a polymorph of kyanite and andalusite. Polymorph being that it is the same chemically, but just a different crystal system, which is amazing because it gives you a completely different looking mineral, but yet have the same chemistry. So that's really unusual because kyanite is one of the members of the polymorph group, and look at how much different that looks than andalusite. Oh yes, one of my favorite gems, andalusite. Same thing, polymorph. The third member of that group is the answer, because it was Benjamin Silliman, who was the professor of chemistry and geology at Yale. Yeah, that's impressive credentials. This was in the 1800s, and the mineral was sillimanite. And we had talked about that because that was that cat's eye that I had shown. And sillimanite, simple chemical formula, Al2SiO4, and an extra oxygen on top of that. That's all it is. And yet, look, whether it's kyanite, andalusite, or sillimanite, how different each one looks for having the same chemical formula. Then, question number 2, name 2 minerals shown that would be called iron oxides. Okay, so throughout the show, and of course I always encourage note taking, sometimes I don't really remember, and a lot of you are very good at like picking a third, like maybe a third oxide or a fourth that I might have just offhandedly mentioned and forgotten myself. So I knew there was 2, and I was going to see if anyone came out and caught me if there was a third. Nobody did, so I guess there was only 2 because all of you are sharp about doing so. But we didn't hear from Barbara this week. She's especially good at finding those kind of things. All right, so the 2 iron oxides now, an all-encompassing iron oxide is limonite. Limonite is one of the answers, and limonite can either be a kind of a hard material that doesn't leave dust all over your fingers, or it can be that friable soft material that you touch and just leaves streaking yellow, orange, red all over you, black, colors like that, from the weathering effect. And limonite, by way of chemical, they just say iron oxide, but it could be really part goethite and other iron oxides in there. So it's one of those good all-around words when you know something is an iron oxide, but just not sure exactly what one it is. Just it's limonite. Now, the other one, goethite, and so that was, if you remember, those beautiful black crystals in those amazing Oco geode special pieces that I had. So those were the 2 we were looking for. many of you got them right, but we didn't have that many people entering this week, so let's see how everyone did. Harry says, well, hey, Professor Shawn and the wonderful Raven, as well as the whole of GSN support team and all our brothers and sisters in Stone. Hello to you all and much love to all of you, and a special mention to Dave and going through the loss of his grandmother. Yeah, funeral was yesterday. Well, in my time. And a special thought and prayers for Peggy and healing her from her surgery. My sister is progressing through her treatments very well and almost done it all. No Halloween photos of the Raven? You know, that's what it was. I told Asa, I said, there was something I wanted you to put so you didn't have to look through my cracked phone that he could pull up. And I even went to my phone and kind of scrolled through some pictures to see if I could remember what it was, and just said, no, I don't know what it was. Now I do remember. It was a picture of Raven in her Halloween outfit with, I think the bunch was what they call, you know, instead of Charlie's Angels, they're Sam's Angels. So it was the three girls, Nikki, Jazzy, and Raven, I think, that were all made up, the three of them together. And, of course, all product coordinators and other, there that can do all things GSN kind of women. And so, yeah, when it comes to everything inventory, Nikki, I mean, she has been here, well, as long as I have, I know. I think it's just about around the same time. And I remember one of the models that we had at the time when I started was actually her very younger sister at the time, who was only 17. And now when I think about it, everybody's got all these kids, and they're all these ages, all so old. And it's like, oh, man, time went by. Okay, so here he goes on to say, please, 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 in reference to the pictures. Yeah, I got that inspiration all over my house, too. And great way to put it. And even better with those huge selenite crystals you mentioned. Wow. That's what I told him as far as I mentioned our home. You know, we actually don't feel as inclined to actually invite people inside our home. And so we still stay kind of private. And we're not quite sure what it is. Whether, you know what, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's fear, which I shouldn't always have, but not really fear. It's feeling like I would be judged just because I like rocks and minerals, you know? It's one of those rocks in your head kind of, I guess, thoughts come across your head. And, you know, it's not one of those homes where there's just one big mineral specimen out, or two, or 200, or 2,000, 20,000, maybe. So that's why. That's part of it why. Our neighbor, who they're really good friends, she's never been in our house. And yet, so Raven goes over there and has tea all the time. And I like to say that I'm a Charlie Brown, that when the rock was dropped in my bag, I was the happiest kid on the street, because I just got the best gift anyone could give me. And I outwardly exude that exuberance for such a type of gift. That oftentimes is looked at a little, with a little consternation by others that aren't quite so enthralled by rocks. So, but you know, if there were not rocks, there would be no cars, metal, about everything in the universe, because it all comes from a rock of one type or another. And just fun little rock hounds like ourselves had to figure out how to, remove the lead from galena, smelt the iron from hematite, and on and on. All right. Now, Harry then also sent me a picture of his a beautiful piece of bullseye malachite, which is pretty much, imagine a lot of kind of like stalactite growth of malachite, and when it grows real close together, it just forms all these concentric bullseyes, and then you take the piece and slice it like a loaf of bread and get some wonderful, wonderful spherical formations. Now, I love this next comment. And remember last week, we found out that Jan, who Jan B, her initial of her last name, and her husband, they had sent a message to us. And if you remember Jan, she was one that wrote in every week, and a big member of our family. And then she tragically lost her son. And it... well, you can imagine. So I'm glad that we've just given her and Dennis space to breathe and enjoy the show. So I'm going to finish the rest of the story. Let me read Dennis's comment. My wife, who is Jan, and I recently purchased the butterfly opal. Now, that was the opal that I had just showed, I think last weekend, which was the Macesso opal piece that I had sliced, and on one side it was a wonderful image of a butterfly in opal against the rhyolite matrix with some beautiful, beautiful color and fire in it. And so let me just interject and tell the story up to this point. That particular opal, of course, my mom's birthstone is opal, my son's birthstone is opal. That piece, when I sliced that, it was like perfect. So I didn't even polish it. I just kind of enamel sprayed it. It can easily be polished as it is. And on the one side, a wonderful image of a butterfly with some incredible, incredible fire. I had offered that piece to all of our community here. This has been a couple years ago. I offered that piece, I don't know how long ago, a while back, years, and it didn't sell. It didn't sell. Remember, everything they say happens for a reason. I enjoyed the butterfly being the birthstone of my mom and son, my deceased mom of 30 years. And it's my favorite stone, always has been. But I had enjoyed it. It had a level of energy, and it was time for me to share it. The first time I went to share it with all of you, it wasn't a lot of money. I looked it up. None of you bought it. None of you bought it. So I took it home, and I continued to enjoy it. Being the birthstone. Now remember, this is a magical show. So I continued on enjoying it. Then I had this pull to offer it for sale again. And of course, it was at a lower price than what I had showed it at before. And I just felt the need to offer it one more time. I didn't know where the need to show it was. It's a birthstone of my mom and son. Why would I offer it at all? Because I'm a fourth Chinese, as many of you know. My mom was born in Shanghai. And that has something to do with this story. I showcased it. Let me continue reading. We were surprised that it was still available. Shivers down my back. the amount I priced that opal for was so inexpensive, I can't imagine that it hadn't already sold as well. Now let me finish, if I can get through it, what Dennis says next. Butterflies have a very special meaning to us. We believe they are messengers from her son who passed away 3 years ago. So this opal really means a lot to us. Thank you so very much, Jan B. and Dennis. That opal was only meant to find one home and to go to one place, and that was to be with the two of you. I am certain of that now. It came back to me for me to hang on to it long enough until the two of you were in a place that I offered it again. You got to see it, and it found its rightful home. If I've never had such a strong conviction for, the right item at the right time for the right person, this certainly says that. Now, let me address a couple stories about the butterfly in general. The Greek and Romans, they also found the butterfly of importance. It was symbol of their immortal soul to the Greek and Romans in mythology. The Native Americans believe it represented change and transformation and comfort. It brought or would bring hope and positivity. A seeing one is a joyful and positive, hopeful sign. Some tribes go a step further and believe that it is the ancestors, meaning just their past deceased, communicated through butterflies. So that they use the butterflies as communication means. China. Now China, this is what I know about the butterfly and what I remember. And I'll tell you my own personal account in just a moment. The Chinese believed it was a symbol of immortality and rebirth. And the Chinese history and Chinese mythology goes back so much first, a very, very old culture and their belief system. Immortality and rebirth. After death, believe it was also represented the resurrection and a sign of the person who has been deceased has been reincarnated and has gone into a higher level of being. There's not a society that doesn't revere the butterfly. My grandfather, my mom's dad, who was an ambassador, this is all pre-communist China, owned 7 city blocks in Shanghai, extremely wealthy. My mom, to the age of 7, only spoke Chinese, lived in China. And I was one of the only siblings that never got to meet my Chinese grandfather, because when the communists took over, he was put under house arrest for decades because he was one of the elite. He, of course, being in the politics, graduated from Harvard in law. He's written a book, just a brilliant, brilliant man. But he was put under house arrest in China for many decades. Only when he was into his 70s and 80s did my mom's siblings have the money to be able to finally red tape and wise get him out of China. His second wife, he had remarried. She was a doctor of acupuncture. She treated him extremely successfully with acupuncture. After he passed away, they had an apartment in Manhattan, but of course financially and whatnot, the apartment was, they were limited. It was an enclosed apartment. In other words, it was an apartment where it had no outside windows. It's what they could afford. After my grandfather passed away, and just after the funeral, an amazing butterfly, not a moth, an amazing full life butterfly appeared in her apartment that had no access to outer windows and no plants, no conceivable way that this butterfly could have gotten into that apartment. To the Chinese, that said everything she could have ever hoped for a sign that his moving to the next step of reincarnation, rebirth, was represented in that. And that butterfly was confirmation that he had gone to a hopeful, positive, happy place on a higher level. And so with that, Dennis and Jan, we still feel for you for the loss of your son, and stay strong. And you know, there's every reason to have beliefs far beyond what we consider mainstream, and especially when we're trying to find healing. There are many, many, many that find healing through rocks and minerals. I don't hold it against any of them, and I'm certainly not. And if anything, ever since that story was told to me, and I was a teenager when that happened, I have remembered it all along. And of course, from the stage of the transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly is always amazing in its pure natural form anyway, let alone when you get into the metaphysical beliefs of all the different nations and tribes and people going back thousands of years. The butterfly is something very special. So thanks for sharing that with us, Dennis and Jan, and continue to heal. And we are just thrilled to hear back from the two of you. And I'm so glad to know now that my butterfly opal, that's what I want to hear. That is why whenever it occurs, when I leave this earth, I'm going to know that some of you out there have really touched in on some of my most personal, coolest pieces. And now I know what happened to them. They didn't just, anonymously disappear into the cyber world in some unknown sale. So that's the kind of meaning. That is what I want to find. And why it's then I can part with the pieces that are so dear to us, because that energy is taken and moved on, and then someone else gets to enjoy it. All right. We're almost done. Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. Another wonderful show, Shawn. Love the up close in the cracks and crevices shots of the specimens. I want to wish a happy Thanksgiving to all in the family who celebrate. A nice day to those who don't. Canada had their Thanksgiving already. I'm going traditional. Turkey and all the sides. Trivia, sillimanite and laminite. And she throws in lead rust on the Civil War bullet. That's pretty good for another oxidizing element. Bye for now, Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Fave of the show, number 260 in the India, Cat's Eye Sillimanite. Good choice. That was amazing, Cat's Eye. Harry in Pennsylvania. Hey there, Professor Shawn and the lovely Raven and all the great peeps at GSN. Sorry I missed a couple shows or missed the trivia question, so I obviously didn't get a chance to send the email out. So I will get back to it today. Wow, nice prize on last week's trivia, agatized coral. Sweet. Hey, I really like the info spread on the microscope with USB. I'll get more info on one to purchase Nice quartz pyrite specimen, especially like Dave's photography of specimens. Nice job, David. By the way, my sister is doing well in her chemo treatments. Do you still have the set of etched morganite? I may have one of the morganites left. I know I showed the one in last week's show and the other one, the peach one, in the week show before. So go back and look at those two shows, have the item number, call up the sales rep, and you can find out if they're available. Simple as that. I'll know in a couple more weeks when the memos return to me what has sold and not sold. You were showing a sillimanite that mentioned it has a nice hardness of Do you think of finishing the sentence, please? Yeah. It's going to be in the same range of, remember I say that because kyanite, which is a polymorph of it, it has a hardness of 5 one way and a 7 another. So that's why I was doing some hemming and hawing, I guess they call that. I would imagine it's in the range of 6, 6.5, something like that. Being that, well, an andalusite is a 7, so it's going to be right in that range, 6 to 7. Plenty hard to know. Man, there it is again. Morganite, etched pink stone. I got to get one of these or both. Can you soak this barite specimen in iron out to get rid of the limonite? You can, but it's not going to do a lot of good. That will work, and always test a little piece first before you just dunk the whole thing in. It will remove iron oxide staining, mostly the iron on. But what that is actual limonite. The matrix itself. So it's not aggressive enough to remove that. And just experiment with it and see what happens. That's how I've made a couple minerals disappear. Question 1, professor at Yale for a mineral named after him, Ben and Jerry's. Oops, Benjamin Silliman. Let me guess, sillimanite. Question 2, iron oxides from the show. Okay, yuck and ugh. And this is how I see these ugliness. Okay, first we have limonite, as which I asked if I can be iron oxide off a barite specimen. And the second one is goethite. And God bless you all. Yeah, there we go. Answers, well done. Miss Elisa in Florida says, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Shawn, thank you so much for the agatized coral. I have wanted coral to represent our time here in Florida, and I can't believe that I won such a beautiful piece. Indeed. It was, and rare with being the white interior like that. Thank you. Side note, I've had deal alert notifications on several refractometers, so if you do decide to sell one, I'm looking to buy. I appreciate that information about temperature and tanzanite. Sounds like it could have been a heartbreaking lesson for someone like me. If I ever had something with tanzanite, of course. I'll opt out of this week's trivia prize, but my answers are sillimanite and goethite and limonite. I hope everyone has a great week and stay safe. Miss Elisa, well done on the answers. And yeah, so if you want to opt out, if you already won like the week before or something like that, send in the answers anyway. You can still play the game all the time. So there has been so many different heartbreaking stories regarding tanzanite, and a lot of it has to do with, now remember, how tanzanite gets its color is through heat treating, and it's heat treating at a temperature that is consistent with something you could do at a high range oven at home even. I'll just tell you that much. So if it can take that much heat, you know, it can handle a good bit of heat, but what it cannot take is temperature change. And I watched a diamond dealer, because diamonds, it doesn't matter. You can take it right in the tweezers, the ring, and take it from a ice cold, water and put it right underneath a hot steamer, even directly into a torch, and the temperature variance will not affect it. So if you're a diamond dealer and don't know much about gemstones, which he didn't, he thought he could just do the same thing. He took that. It was a 30 karat tanzanite. Incredible color. This is long time back, Block D time. And took that tanzanite and he put it directly underneath that steamer. And he was just going from room temperature to directly underneath that steamer, which steam coming out of the nozzle under pressure is even going to increase it. So, it wasn't 212 degree steam, believe me. And he just instantly shattered that tanzanite. And he looked, and there was nothing I could do. I mean, I can't hold these people's hands. He didn't ask me to do it, which I would have done it for him. And I said, didn't you know better? I won't forget that one. That was some lessons are expensive to learn. All right, so Mr. Charles says, ciao, Professor Shawn, GSN crew and Rock family. Please pardon my absence last week. I'm taking on a job helping a veteran friend who has suffered a back injury doing handyman type work. I was too exhausted to participate in the trivia. Welcome, Dennis. Thank you for prompting Shawn to explain a bit about jewelry making and the temperature sensitivity of tanzanite. Well, there you go. I picked up the emerald cut Mexican topaz from a couple of weeks ago for my mother's November birthday. I think they will make some lovely earrings. Good choice. I'm very thankful to have joined this circle of rock hounds. Happy Thanksgiving. With love, Charles. Love back at you there, Mr. Charles. Thank goodness for taking notes. These questions were not easy. Question 1, selenite. Question 2, limonite and goethite. Well done to our recent new member who has decided to chime in with the group. A lot of you others I know watch and listen. Please feel free to participate because you're going to get to see what the winner of the trivia gets for participating. So it was a high probability that one of two of you basically were going to win. And in this time, the lucky winner is Harry. Congratulations. Let's show Harry what he has won. This has been, look at this. This has been in my collection for a long time. And let me show you. This had been sent away and carved at the same time other carvings you might have seen that I have had, like amethyst and rose quartz from the hog mine. And now, this is, pyroxene. This is a pyroxene. Pyroxene is a broad name for a lot of different other minerals that fall underneath the heading of pyroxene. Including things like agarine, augite, spodumene. To be a pyroxene, it is a simple matter of the ending of the chemical formula. That's all it is what determines it, and is of course, and same thing with garnets, just depending on the different ending. So in this case, a simple formula, and you change out, like add lithium and aluminum, and you have spodumene as a member of the family. So now, this is supposed to be, I thought, pyroxene from the hog mine, but it is pyroxene from Georgia. If it's not the hog mine, because I know the people that went and mined at these places, then it is pyroxene from Graves Mountain, Georgia. Hold on, here's the other notes I was looking for. Okay, so, so pyroxene is Si2O6 across the entire ending of whether it is diopside. Yes, diopside is a pyroxene. Augite, agarine, spodumene, jadeite is a pyroxene, and as well as spodumene. Spodumene, of course, is lithium and aluminum added to the silicon and oxygen. Now, cosmochlor. Remember, you've heard of cosmochlor because that's what I've told you is in Mount Sit, that has a combination of chromium minerals, and cosmochlor has sodium and chromium added to the silicon and oxygen. So, pyroxene, it's a wonderful kind of all-encompassing name. And let me show you the back of this. Here is what it can look like when you have all the crystals going in different directions. You get all these reflections from those crystals. That is a frog on a lily pad from a really unusual source, which I would have to say probably Graves Mountain, unless you can see if there's any pyroxenes being mined at the hog mine. That's where this came from. That's why I always thought it did come from. But check it out, because using that material for the carving material most unusual and unique and rare on that. So, Harry, I'm sure you will enjoy the Black Prince, because that's what it is. It's just waiting to be found. So enjoy that unusual item. Okay, I'm going to tuck it away, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have a real surprise treat. Miss Gabby. Of course, if for those of you not familiar, but Raven has a very talented daughter. She's 23, and what Miss Gabby has done is create a year-round Christmas tree, and she has decorated that Christmas tree with natural wooden ornaments that Summer has hand painted of actual crystal specimens, of many of her actual crystal specimens, and then just some other odds and end specimens. And that is certainly would make an outstanding Christmas tree to put up year round. Well, here are the two last ones that Summer had to work on, and just in time for the holiday season. So Miss Gabby, I have to still enter these into the computer system, but by that time you get this show and watch this show, that will be taken care of. So these, again, to everybody, are already sold, but Miss Gabby, take this item number down verbally, and then you'll be able to call in and order the item. So it's the first one we're talking about is this wolfenite specimen. It'll be 482-108-4522. That will be the item number for you to order at Miss Gabby. Now, this is a picture she had sent of this wolfenite, and Summer captured it wonderfully, including some of the other minerals associated with it. She uses yellow pine. It is all sprayed and sealed, including the back. She signs it and dates it. And look at the size of this one. Just magnificent. These are running larger than some of the other sizes that she has done, but she gets these slices, this yellow pine already sliced, and it's drilled. And what better way to, if you're going to have, especially if you have a Christmas tree that, of course, would be an artificial one, but then to hang real wooden ornaments of your mineral specimens, that certainly brings it to life. Okay, so that's the item number for that one, and Miss Gabby, so that you can order the other one. This one she called her Georgia fluorite, though it wasn't from Georgia. It is because of the background of the matrix kind of is in the shape of the state of Georgia. Look at these fluorites, stunning. So this item number is going to be 1084622, and that, with the sales rep, by the time you order this, should be able to get right to them. So this is a beautiful one with the purple fluorites, again signed, and Georgia shaped. She even wrote Georgia shaped fluorite and dated there. So if anybody wants to send in a picture of their particular mineral specimen and have Summer create its self-portrait, or not, I guess, a self-portrait, but a portrait of your mineral specimen, you can see, so you can certainly do that. Or if you just want to pick one out of a book or any other one, and I suppose she could do anything. I know that she only started doing minerals with Miss Gabby. We encouraged her to do it, and she did minerals. Other than that, dogs, cats, animals, if you want an ornament done, a wooden ornament, she can do it for you. All we need is a picture. So consider that. Miss Gabby, you have the item numbers on those. And now let's continue with the show with the first item of the show. And there's going to be so many exciting things here. I'm not sure where all I'm going to go. But let me segue to item 1047422. Because did we not just talk about something really actually rare? And it is only from Burma. And let me show you this. Let me show you this. It is Mount Sit Sit, which is, to me, one of my favorite jade minerals. And I say jade minerals because Mount Sit Sit is actually a rock, because it is made up of 3 or more different other minerals, including a related cosmochlor, which I had mentioned earlier, which is a related pyroxene to jadeite, ending in the same chemical formula. Now, what had happened to this piece, let me show you. Now, the Mount Sit Sit they're getting out of the Burma region now is a limey green. It is nothing like this. I had so much of this material at one point, I sold it all. This particular piece actually broke along a fissure line, so you can see that. Look at that. You can see if you wanted to put it back together, you can, and have that. But other than that, it's great for cutting 2 stones out of it. But I'm going to drop it in a minute, and you'll see that it is in 2 pieces. But this is a very fine color, and it is the chromium that is in that material that gives it that really good color, as far as the chromium in cosmochlor. Just a really nice piece. So anyway, you can have a lot of fun for those of you that want to cut, or you can see that you can drill this material. It takes an incredible polish, You can't get good material like that, not even as just cutting rough or anything at all. But I tell you what, let's make it only $12. $12. The pieces I had, they were large, and I wish I had every one of them back. We sold them as quick as we showed them at $300, $400, $500, $600 each, and they all found homes. And I knew that was a buy that if I could have afforded it, I should have just sat on it and never, ever sold it. Because right now, it would, well, I might share it with all of you because it's really needed. 1083522. Now, lately, I have really been getting into this very simple mineral. 2 elements, iron and sulfur. It's iron sulfide, everybody knows this one, even the little children. It's one of the first rocks and minerals that they ever know of and hear of. They hear of fool's gold. And then, of course, they're bringing you every shiny little piece of rock outside for about, 2 days, and then they're on to their, their next little passion, which I wonder what the odds are. 1 in 100 million kids becomes a rock hound. That's probably about right for stats. Bigger and better things. Maybe they become Bitcoin traders or something like that. Okay, well, that's one thing I'm glad I do not do. Now, this piece has some really interesting quartz with it too. And, there's plenty of iron available in pyrite. Of course, it's iron sulfide. And it easily lends itself to staining quartz, the rust colors. But as we come in a little closer on the quartz, you can see that see this? It actually fills in some of the either unformed or etched away pyrite areas. I didn't get to poking around and digging in it too much. Didn't want to do any damage if it was something I liked, but very interesting nonetheless. Now, as I look at this, you never know with pyrite. You can find all kinds of other sulfide minerals associated with it. Look at the back. I love pyrite anyway. It's just beautiful. It's just a pretty mineral. And if it gets a little oxidized, you can just use a polishing cloth and it'll wipe it down and it'll polish it up. Look at how large that crystal is. Now, this is the Peruvian pyrite. Peruvian pyrite, this one happens to be from the Wanzala mine, that well-known Peruvian mine, and it's heavy. It's heavy for the size that it is. Pyrite is something almost everybody, whether you ever like rocks or not, can associate with and relate to and has heard it. If they haven't heard of pyrite, they certainly have heard of fool's gold. And you can see what a bright glare that makes. Sorry about that. I was doing other things. Look at the striated face to the crystal. That's really interesting as well. Pyrite, pyre meaning for fire, and you can use this to create a spark as they did in the old flintlock days. They were very creative in what they found by way of different minerals and rocks to reach their means. I mean, everything, all the gunpowder was, you know, from saltpeter. They found sulfur, they found natural minerals, carbon and whatnot, and created those. And before long, they were onto explosives, and there we go. And then the Geiger counters came out, and they stepped up Mother Nature's, what Mother Nature had for complete destruction. It's all right here. And that is the amazing part of the periodic table of elements. There's everything there to create or destroy. Now, while I have that just sitting there, let me show you. Oh, by the way, price on this, only $44. Only $44. It's 374 grams. 454 is a pound. So that is, you wouldn't believe how heavy that is. Oh, let me see something else I wanted to check. My super duper powerful magnet. Well, okay, look at that. Isn't that something? We're going to cover that another day. But if pyrite has such a high, by way of weight especially, percentage of iron over sulfur of iron, and it certainly feels like it, why is it not magnetic at all? We're not going to do that right now. I'm going to have to wait to make sure that that you've got your thinking cap on, because it is a really interesting answer to why some iron minerals are attracted to a magnet and some are not. Neat story. Now, let me also cover one other item. I think I had mentioned a week or two ago about fire agate. Someone had, or there was a piece of fire agate, and I commented about it being chlorite often that is stained by hematite. So as we come in closer, I actually brought in a piece of fire agate from my own collection. You can see I've tumble polished it, but you can see that same type of formation, and this is lightweight, so it's not in a metallic one. But look at this blue chalcedony material in with the red chlorite material, making for an attractive combination. So just wanted to show you that. Flame agate, we called it. Fire agate, of course, is the agate with the play of colors. Flame agate is how we referred to that material. Now, something that's been around, only 6,000 or 8,000 years. Let's look at item 1068922. 1068922. This goes back historically as one of the oldest minerals used in ancient times, and used for so many purposes, everything from makeup still to painting to they tried it with everything. I mean, they added all kinds of things to different glass making for different coloring, because it could be powdered and mixed into like a slurry. It was really very useful for what they used it for. Look at the pyrite in this. Now, you can see this. I can assure you, you take this into the closet, you're going to get some fluorescence. So much of this Afghan lapis has a fluorescent factor to it. Now, remember, they have determined that, lapis lazuli, which they have actually figured out is mostly a sulfur-dominant aween. but they don't know how to tell everybody that it's not actually what we've been thinking it is all these years. So that's going to take some time. So just keep going with lapis. Lapis, almost 90% of the world's lapis or more. You know, Chile has some nice lapis. My son actually brought me back a piece after, you know, he was living there for a while and going to school, college. Chilean lapis, a lot more pyrite, a much darker blue. Then there's Chinese lapis, which has a lot of pyrite and calcite and chokes out the blue. Afghan lapis is as good as you want to see it. It is amazing stuff. And when you get a piece that has very little pyrite and has very little calcite, look at the richness to that color. I like a little pyrite in it. I don't care much for the calcite, but that's really good stuff when it looks like that. So this would be great if you want to take some slices for cutting material. Plus, also, here's the neat thing. Look at this. Natural faces on every side. Look at this. It's almost a perfect even thickness across there. So it makes for a wonderful specimen, or, look at this, a wonderful stand to put another cool mineral on. And, yeah, just a nice item that you can use for all kinds of different reasons. If you don't want to cut it, it will certainly serve a lot of other wonderful display opportunities. Price on this guy, well, it's sale price. How's that? How's that? And wow, all right, only $16. $16. I love the pyrite that's associated with that. Beautiful stuff. Now, what I have next, let's look and see. This, hold on, let me keep up with my scanning here. Okay. This has never been my thing. Oh, that's why. Hit that button, and you probably just wiped out everything. Okay. Now, mouse it. Let's look. Item 1083222. 1083222. And some of you may recognize a part of this, but you have never seen the rest of it, which is the termination. Look at that. Now, what that is the top of what was a crystal of apatite that was probably originally maybe 5 or 6 inches long. And you can see the 6 sides to it. And that's the natural termination of it. Let me show you, though, what is on the inside. Look at this. Look at this. Yes, you've seen those slices. You sure have. Well, this is what they came off of. And this is some stunning color material. Look at that blue. Look at that blue. Yeah, and it is, look at how deep that penetrates into the crystal. Wonderful stuff, thank you, sir. This, you could go on if you have a saw and keep slicing it up, or stop there and leave it as a very rare, look how large and very large apatite crystal point. It would be one of those deals like, yeah, if you don't like mine, well, you certainly probably don't have one of your own to brag. So yeah, a lot of people say, well, you know, that's only because they don't have one. Yeah, how many people would have the termination of a crystal point like that. So just kind of a fun oddity. $38. $38 on that. All right, let me tuck that one away and a few other items, and I'll be right back. All right, another piece of one of my favorite minerals, pyrite. And, you know, pretty much if you go and look pyrite up, you can pretty much find it in all corners of the globe, in all different kinds of geologic environments. And here is yet another one. Now this one isn't too far from my old stomping grounds. Jackson County, North Carolina, is just up a little bit from Macon County, from Franklin, and is in Western North Carolina is so prolific in the number of mines. If you really know where to look, you can find them. They're out there. They're out there. There's so many prospects. There's so many mines. There's so many things that have been discovered. There's a zircon belt of Western North Carolina. Of course, there's the Spruce Pine District that has everything. You know, there's the corundum belt, which I have heavily explored and had amazing, amazing luck, even financially, of course, at Chunky Gal, finding specimens worth upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 in that split sapphire crystal specimen, and many other things. But something that you know, they mine, they crush it up, doesn't get a lot of attention though, but is so attractive to me, is pyrite. Here is one. This specimen I picked up in the town square of Dahlonega. If you've ever been to North Georgia, it's almost tough to miss. That's also where the first major gold rush to the United States occurred. Dahlonega, that's what helped settle a lot of portions and caused the Trail of Tears, the forced march of the Native Americans out to Oklahoma, and a lot of history, a lot of history. So at a little tailgate right on the square in Dahlonega, probably wasn't it 20 cars, tailgater, rockhounds, just set up, you know, had some things, threw down their tailgate, and I was walking it, and it was, I love little shows like that. I don't even know if I call it a show. Little get-togethers like that. And if I'd have known what was going on, I mean, I don't live actually too far from there, I could have overwhelmed their little show. But you know, I let them have their fun. I picked this specimen up there. I thought it was a great find. Look at the size of this natural pyrite cube. That's big. That's big. This one I thought was pretty big. Well, and it is. They're very similar in size. Here, this entire formation comes around here, as you can see. Here is more pyrite, and then more over here. And this would actually be one of those specimens that if you wanted to dissect it, so to speak, in other words, take it apart, chip at it a little bit, you could, that would be okay. That would be okay. I think right along here, you could probably get some metal, some things to split off. You might really be able to clean it up quite a bit. Some of this stuff might just pop right off. Remember the pyrite cubes from Spain? Oh yes, that Miss Barbara's going to have the fun of tricking someone and thinking that they broke their expensive specimen by the pyrite cube falling out. The natural marl barely is able to hang on to the pyrite cubes in that situation. So this is one that, for the way I'm going to price it, would be either fantastic, donated to a school. Actually, I should probably do that. Well, I have others, and I've donated to schools, but you know, it's probably time to do another way. See how I talk to myself? I'll do that at home too. So anyway, it could be one of those specimens. Or if you collect pyrite at home, then forget all that. You keep this, because what an addition to a collection to have North Carolina pyrite. And for the price, you know, I felt so bad. I still remember the moment I bought this from the guy, because, of course, I negotiated them down, which drives Raven nuts sometimes because I just have a habit of everything, you know, has to be negotiated down. So anyway, but I felt so bad for him. The price he asked was fair enough, and, you know, he's probably laughing behind my back because I didn't, you know, ask him down any more money, but yeah, it was cool to get. So I've enjoyed this specimen, I have, and now I'm going to let somebody else enjoy it for only $18. $18. What a jewel. Item 915319. And if you ever see any of those little tailgate rockhound shows setting up anywhere or read about them, go to them. Go to them. That is really where you can often find some of the local material that these people have just dug themselves. Okay, let me see here. Did I? Yes. Okay, now, check this ring out. I put it together. It's Crabtree Mine Emerald. So let's talk about North Carolina once again. The Crabtree Emerald Mine, I mean, truly world famous, produces still or has some stunning emerald crystals, stunning emeralds. This, I put it together, the stone, the ring, and I've offered it for sale before. But you know, now after reading and understanding a little bit better, you know, Jan and Dennis and their son that Jan lost, and then to have that butterfly opal come back around all these years later, didn't sell. I enjoyed it some more. It just waited. That butterfly waited until the perfect moment for it to be part of someone's lives where it would be appreciated more than by anybody else, and it would mean more. And that's a powerful, powerful item for me to know that that someone else reveres it as much as I always have, and being my mom's and my son's birthstone. So, yeah, that's going to go down and for a long time, Dennis and Jan, into a special place in my heart. So this ring, they're emeralds in matrix. You can see them. The green hornblende is usually one of the black minerals, but again, it could be agarine, augite, some other type of pyroxene, sterling silver ring, and how about this? I am going to make it a really fun, because the price is going to be, oh, why not? Let's do this. $36. $36 for a North Carolina Crabtree Mine emerald. And by the way, here is, you get that actually on the tag. So there's information if you missed out on it. There's the rest of it. And a certainly worthy piece of, I mean, you know, the amount of emerald coming out of there anymore is very limited, and they think, of course, if any specimens that you try to buy there or anything are absolutely stunningly fortunate. But that gives you an opportunity to have something already set up, ready to go. Okay, now let me show you. Let me, one moment, get this big pyrite out of the way. Yeah, don't you love that sound? That's the sound of rocks. Dave's saying that's the sound of messing up my table. No, everything was on plastic. All right, here we go. Let's go about 12,000 or so miles away and look at item 108-3422. 108-3422. You have not seen this in a while. It is, by way of quality, one of the best combinations of color and everything you would want in mookaite. Mookaite. Now, it's perfectly okay in spelling mookaite if you do not put the A in there, if it just is mookaite. Now, It is named after a place in very western Australia called Mooka Station, and kind of roughly along Mooka Creek. Well, there's no water in Mooka Creek. There's no much of anything in Mooka Station except for, okay, ready for this? Radiolite. Radiolarite. Well, it's depending on where you want to put the accent marks, but radiolarite is exactly what this is. A lot of people, when it has come to Mookaite, have described it incorrectly by saying that it's a chert, or that it's a chalcedony, or that it's an opalite, and all of those are incorrect, or a combination of those. That's incorrect as well. What they have found out over the years is that it is a silicified radiolarite, which are protozoans with silicified skeletons, or silica skeletons. We'll try to simplify this so you can understand. Okay, let's go backwards a little bit, and let's, for a moment, how many of you have cleaned a pool, had a pool, neighbor had a pool, you had to, have something to do with a pool in your life, and you had to put something into the filter system called diatomaceous earth, or you had farm animals, chickens, etc., or you as a human being took diatomaceous earth. Yes, it is ingestible. It is a incredible, I think they use it as a parasite killer in farm animals. I know I have given it to my chickens. Okay, now, I'm saying diatomaceous earth to just to mention something that's bigger that you can understand. Diatoms are similar for the reason of their silica skeleton. The same kind of formation that gives you the very, if you've ever played in diatomaceous earth, it has a certain kind of grittiness to it. Well, that's the silica. Radiolaria, they are little protozoans, which are extremely small. These aren't like krill that are small little shrimp that sound small, which, relative to regular shrimp they are, that, big whales scoop up and eat like that. No, these are on a scale that the microscopic animals eat this. In other words, really, really, really small. And so many of them will perish and die building up a layer of this silicified material. Over time, it is cemented together because it's silica, and that's what silica likes to do, and ends up to be a hardness of 6 to 7. So what you are looking at in this, look at this. Look, you can see, look how nice and even that is. I had it on my diamond saw. I sawed on it from both directions. This purple and mauve color, some of the most valuable colors in this material. This takes a polish like glass. This is all natural. This would make multiple slabs of some of the best quality. Now, you can get Mookaite, it's an order, the boulders, and oftentimes you'll get one color or the other. To get one specimen that's only this large that has the most desirable color patterns that you could hope for. Look at this. So these other colors are created by impurities of iron and manganese and other elements, and boy, it is good and solid. Now, let me show you. This is kind of neat and important. The way it's described is as a porcelainite. 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 And one of the signs of that is a conchoidal fracture, which is the fracture like glass, which you see right there. Porcelainite is a very similar type of material and description. I kind of like the radiolite because it is more scientific than using the word porcelain, I think. But if you hear it mentioned as that, then now I've touched on it, and you'll be familiar with both. But in general, stay away from descriptions as far as chert, chalcedony, or opalite. Those are unfounded and commonly repeated. It sounds like a good selling point than just saying that it is silicified radiolite. And but I rather like the science to it. So the radiolite I like. Silicified protozoans I like. And look at that. This specimen I love. Make it yours. And, you know, it's only $77. I have marked it down, and I only make it at that value and price because it is of some of the best quality. You could end up buying pounds and pounds of it. Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah. Pounds and pounds of this material and not get all the colors that you see in this one piece. This is also one, as Dave is staring into his big screen TV in front of him, for any unusual animals that he may be seeing staring back at him. Now, enjoy that. If you, plus also, by the way, this material goes great in a aquarium. It looks beautiful in an aquarium. Hard, durable, amazing polish. It can be sliced really thin, really thin. I love it. And it's, I had some huge pieces I offered and sold before. This is the nicest piece I have left and the largest one. And again, I've gotten a lot of good energy and enjoyment from it, and I'm passing that one on along. 101 3921, 101 3921. And let's take a look at this. Now, this is one of the Pakistani 4. I usually get around to 1 or 2 of them during every show. This one happens to be one of the rarest ones of the 4. The 4 are the 4 amazing mineral batches that I bought of one of each kind. Sphene, red zircon, pink apatite, and triplite. Now, as we go in closer, you can see how large this is. This is actually unusual. A lot of these aren't around. This is the genuine deal here. Natural pink apatite. Pink apatite. You can see big band of muscovite mica and a large layer of additional mica crystals. And to find these small, tiny apatites, you go to the closet because this material fluoresces like you could not believe. And ultraviolet light, even if it's a tiny crystal tucked away somewhere, it will stand out and glow. And it's kind of neat. You'll think, oh, there's only like 3 or 4 in there, and then you'll take it in the closet, and one of these specimens will light up like a city at night with sparkles of color all over the place. Let's go in for a moment, and because I'm going to give one of the most special deals ever on this piece. Now, pink apatite as a faceted stone is a real rare jewel and highly collectible, even a small stone. Let me do a little backlighting and just kind of see what kind of other colors we have in this. I am using a wavelength of light different than what I would normally use. Let me set that there for a moment. And the apatite, it, along with other pink minerals, remember, it's not something you just want to always have in the sun or in the windowsill. Here's the other one. Okay, so I'm looking at it with that light. Now let's go with my sunlight light. Look at the difference in the pinks. And that's why I tell you that get lots of flashlights. You really need it because it makes all the difference in the world. Now this is the one that I've showed you before that covers the wavelength of light that the southern United States is, and it's a yellowish tint to the light. Now let me show you this other one. Look at this. This is what you find in so many of the xenon lights and all, that completely different bulb, and it almost washes out the color. Let me check from other angles. And you don't even see it. You don't even think there's any color there at all. Well, that's not the real color. That is these new xenon, halogen, whatever you want to call them. It's none of the old yellow filament wavelengths of light. Now, what you're looking at right there, that's the color. That's the pink. That's what you want to see. Going back to my point, all it takes is one small little stone in one of these crystals, and you could have a really nice bit of value in a faceted gem. Thank you, sir. So some of these, most of them, of course, always as mineral specimens, but there's often, if you're brave and want to try something like that, that's how you get rare faceted gems also, is by taking a gamble and taking one of those crystals apart. It'd be kind of difficult. I like that big, large one. How about this price on this big piece? I have a really special deal because I want to put this into someone's lucky hands. I have a lot of neat things going to be coming up, but I need to sell some special pieces, and I'm getting ready to make this special right now. How about this? Special at only $68. $68. That is a huge look, and something, if you could even find it at any other type of situation or show, would, of course, far exceed that. Now, item 1076022. This, well, this is another one of the, as Barbara quoted it, one of the Pakistani four. So we have one that we just looked at. Let's look at this one. And this one, of course, is one of the most, well, would be, is the most valuable of all of them, really, if you look at it for gem quality. Triplite. Triplite never forms really well-defined crystals, but it is found in these poorly defined crystalline shapes. You saw, if you've been watching this show for any length of time, that Mr. Anthony, which actually we missed Anthony today, he didn't chime in, had cut a beautiful 41 pointer from a piece that he got from a parcel from me. Of course, a 41 point even included in this material, that's a nice stone and a stone of value. Triplite, pinks and oranges, and you can't really appreciate it until you just put some light and look into some of these, and then you can see just how beautiful not only the colors are, and you can see now also by using the right light that you can really determine what the actual color of the material is versus using a wrong wavelength of flashlight. And then you have no idea what look at that, what your body color of your stone really is. See, look at that. Now there, see, that's a really, wow. That's one that would be worthy of giving it a go and doing a preform on it to see if it would cut a stone. And that's all, that's what you do. You just have to, unless you want to keep them as specimens, or tumble them. Tumbling them would give you an insight into what they would look like polished or cut. Look at that. That's got a nice piece sides all the way around. See, look at that. That's just wonderful stuff. Look at that. All right, so yeah, there's some jewels here, and that's what this material looks like in the rough. There's none of these fancy, beautiful, well-shaped crystals or anything. Just don't occur. Thank you, sir. This is about as good as of a look as it gets. Price on this entire batch, you're gonna love it. It is 125 carats in 7 stones. Only one small pocket was found in 2015. Here we go. Make it a holiday opportunity for pricing, and $38. Only $38. That for the amount of carats. I haven't been to a show in a long, long time, but I need to go. I would just like to go and say to Raven, okay, let's see how many people have triplite at all. Let's see how many people have pink apatite at all. Let's see how many have sphene crystal clusters from Pakistan at all. Not just one, one specimen, but a number of them. That, because like I have a number of them, not just one. And I wouldn't be surprised, but I think many of you would be surprised. It would be a neat challenge. I would actually do it. I would like to actually see, and then I would like to actually see what they would be charging. I bet it would be quite a bit of money for just one of these pieces. That's just guessing, but that's kind of feeling I have about that. Okay, let's see, have been setting something aside. Okay. I have never featured what I'm getting ready to show you before. 1083822. 1083822. And I have had this stone around so long, I know it is Madagascan. And I see that South Africa now is like the big producer you see now, but everyone talks about the Madagascan color, and I'm talking about rose quartz, but rose quartz on a special level. Let's take a look. Look at this cabochon. Now, Dave, there is something special about this rose quartz. Let's do the light thing. Well, no, actually that light, you're already seeing part of it. That's all we need. Let's keep turning this over, and what do we have? Look at that. Look at that. Star rose quartz. And that, here, let me put this behind it for a moment so you can actually see how rich the pink is. Look at that. That's what they talk about. There's so much rose quartz that you can find, and it is usually so faint in color. Look at that star. That is a beauty. And all right, a couple facts. This star in rose quartz is created by the same impurity mineral as the star in corundum. Now, I could leave it there and and I think I will. I think I'm going to let that be one of the trivia questions. I'm going to leave it at that. So it's going to stem from this presentation, but I'm not going to give you the answer in this presentation. I'm going to want to see how many of you will know it outright. So we're going to talk about, as part of the question, what forms that star. Now, look at how well formed it is. It's really I love it, very well defined. Now, of course, you can see actually the level of pink by that view right there. When you do that, it kind of lets light pass through it and wash it out. That's why you actually don't polish backs of these. And the more you can rough it up so you can get that reflection back, often defines the star even better. This is a calibrated 25 by 18, and it can be cut lower. And see what they do, you can see these are what's called naturals, but all of this material can be flattened. They keep that depth to help with the intensity of the color. Price on that stone, on that star rose quartz. This is what's crazy. I only have the one, so who all's going to fight over it? Let's make it, it's 50.50 carats. Let's make it less than $1 a carat. $48. Only $48 on that. Only $48. That is a beaut. Those legs really are, well, it's got legs. Let's just say that. Item 108-4422. 108-4422. And I have something unusual I don't normally offer. It is a set, a collection. Okay. We'll get back to this item number in a moment. And as a matter of fact, let me clean up a couple things so that I'll be better organized. Be right back. Okay, so I've organized them now. Thanks for your patience. And these are semi-finished. In other words, they've been cast, then they tumble them. They tumble finish them in some shot. So you see the 4 different sizes there, starting with this size, 25 by 18, 22 by 16, this one, 9 by 7, and 8 by 6. This actually is the ring that if you watch the How It's Done series of 30 or so episodes of everything imaginable, as far as from easy items to do at the bench to really technical, we make a lost wax cast ring, we alloy, we hand fabricate, we create rose gold, we do all kinds of things. You're gonna love that series of episodes, the How It's Done. You find that in the same place where you find this show and make the comments. There'll be a link to it, How It's Done. Now, I say that because you see why this one is darker than the other? There is an episode on how to antique a silver ring or a gold ring, and this was the ring that we used, and you can see how effective antiquing is in darkening something. So there's just an extra little side note to this one. You can add other stones to these with no problem using heads. Anthony, Harry, those of you that cut and set, wow, 4 great pieces. Now, the reason why I got it out here is because this, 25 by 18, right? Now, should fit right in there, right? Well, it should, except here's the funny thing. Depth. Depth has a lot to do with it. And that's why I said, if you wanted, all you have to do is cut this all the way down to just about that girdle line. That'll still give you that exact same outer dimension, and it will fit right down in there. Fold those prongs over, and you have a star quartz ring. Super cool, super neat. This is a little bit smaller, but you could easily shape the stone to fit in there as well. All right, here's the most amazing thing, is what I'm going to offer those 4 pieces for. Yeah, some of these, look at the neat antique designs underneath. Anyway, you know what they'll clean up. They'll be beautiful for you. The set of 4, this is when I was trying to, just trying my best to make it more money. I just couldn't do it. That's why I'm a stinky businessman. But when I am able to offer you all 4, guess what? $48 for the set. I kid you not. $12 a ring. $48 for all 4. Well, I know that some of you should be doing backflips for those right now. Now, next, I have been waiting to present these to you, and I think you're going to really, really like what I'm getting ready to show you. I need to clean the turntable and the other black area right here, and I will be right back. All right, I'm getting ready to show you, by way of mineral specimens, really one of the finest of the day indeed. And this is, of course, another one of Hoarder Raven's favorites for a lot of different reasons as we get into looking at this. For one thing, the color of the barite blades. Now, you've seen barite blades, you've seen vanadinite on barite blades. I showed you last week blue barite. Well, the color of these are exceptional because they range from a pink that you can see over here, and then they go through orange till you get to a really deep, rich red orange down here that you'll really be able to see it in person in all the detail that you want. Now, these barite blades, they're well separated. They're not like, haven't been formed together. And there is bonuses. All right, now remember, barite is one of the two minerals that create what is referred to as the desert roses. And the desert rose form out of barite or selenite. Now let me show you, in case you forgot what one of those look like. Remember these? And they, these are selenite, but very similar in their formations. You guys pass those up. I may show those again, but those are some really old specimens. Now, look at that. Look at how that looks like a rose. This is a really neat bonus formation to have on this specimen because you have the concentric directional spin to the blades like a rose has. That's just one extra goodie. The real prime part to this are these crystals. Cerussite. Cerussite. Now, cerussite gets its name, it was named in 1845 from the Latin word for white lead. White lead. And cerussite often is created in geologic terms by the weathering of galena. So galena, of course, is that bright, shiny lead ore, and the weathering meaning exposed to the elements, air, heat, water, etc. And over time, you get a lead carbonate in a lot of cases, which is cerussite. Now, these crystals, and let's come in on one, can actually be faceted when they're clean enough and they have a really high refractive index, so it's kind of fun. They also are well known for developing cyclical twins. So when you look at these, you can, in some of these, see where they are twinned in that way. You can see that this actually has the faces. It's not like a broken crystal. The faces are there. Oh, wow, this is so heavy. Here's another one. And then here we go. So you can see one, they can form dipyramidal, you know, like a pyramid base to base. You can see one there. and another one opposing it, it looks like. As we come along here, making our way back around, you can see you have galena actually is another mineral found with these. And I didn't actually check, but now that I'm looking along here, it looks like there is some galena. Definitely looks like there's some galena. There is also, let me get my pointer, small. If we go in right here, like only Dave knows how to do so well, these little tiny crystals, and look at these little white crystals. These are all cerussite, little small cerussite crystals, and they're beautiful to see under a higher power magnification. Right there is a nice little cluster of them. Back underneath there. Now, as we turn this around, we come down over here and another nice cluster. Look at these. Look at these. Here we go. Here's a twinned crystal right there. There's a twin. Look at these growing on the barite. Then you have more cerussite and galena. You also have a crystallized limestone and some of the best color barite blades I've ever seen. This whole piece, 796 grams, so you're talking about not too far away from a couple pounds. You wouldn't think that, but barite, very heavy for a non-metallic mineral. Now, the other bonus, cerussite, I went to the closet with this and it glows like one of the brightest looks you would want in a fluorescent mineral. It does, they do not disappoint. That's the way to find the other cerussites in this piece as well. See, when you look at it like that, you don't really see much of a crystal formation, but catch the light off of it and look, let me get that just right. Look at that. Look at that. So you can see that is actually an entire face of the crystal. So it goes from being what you might think is mediocre to a completely finished piece. A really nice, attractive look. This specimen with the cerussites, very difficult to get them this large. If you look them up in where Mindat offers them, your choices, most of them are going to be in a size of about, this size range. This is a large specimen to come from where they're mined and how they're mined. It has an outstanding separate color rose, and look at that, from pink to the deeper orange. It has really everything on it that you would want. Then one last close look at these barites, where they started all over again on the backside with little tiny barite blades, and that's how they'll get their start. Much, much more to explore on this piece. An unbelievable opportunity on this one for only, wow. Once it's gone, it's gone. When Raven saw this, that I had it, she was polite. She knows what we got to do. Doing what we got to do, but she didn't have to be happy with it. Only $178. Only $178. All right, that's a nice specimen. That's going to take a moment to put it away. I'll be right back. We're not quite at the end, but I figured it was time for a zeolite nevertheless. Oh yeah, we have to show a zeolite a show. This is one of my favorites, and Raven and I couldn't believe that nobody has picked up on it. Mint green. Look at the mint color apopholites. They're, you know, you can have apopholites on them, but not too often do you find these beautiful mint green ones. And as we look over here where they begin at the top, there is, and remember with zeolites, no telling what else you might find. You could have scolicites, oconites, gyrolites, all kinds of other ones. Beautiful mint green apophyllite. Then you have stilbite. Here's your stilbite. It comes to a point. Let's dive down into this little area down here. You have, it looks like there is a bed of quartz. You have mirror apophyllite. You have mint apophyllite. Look at this one. See, I didn't even spot this before till just now. Look at the mint apophyllites growing on the stilbite. That's beautiful. There's a really well-formed crystal. And when we go out here towards the edge, you're going to see celadonite, the green, the white filling these pockets, little vesicles, is most likely gonardite. So, you know, how many did we just name? 4 or 5? And that's without going in close where we can look up. Let's just take one little close-in trip for a moment, because often behind these crystals, now you can see that stilbite, look what's actually on it. Look at all these other crystals growing on that. You start looking back in these little corners, and that's where you can find your lomentite, your scolicite. Look at that bunch growing on another one. Yeah, that's where, for not a lot of money, well, that's because I got a sea freight shipment of it, saving the vast majority of the cost in rocks and minerals, you can imagine, is shipping. Shipping something that heavy. Price on this one, can't believe it, but I'm going to offer something that cool for only $32. $32. All right, now, with the next series of items I'm going to show you, it's going to take us on out of the rest of the show. But in some ways, I think you're going to appreciate it, because I'm going to finish with some of the best. Save some of the best for the last. But right before that, since Raven isn't here at the moment, she wouldn't be happy, but I am going to offer something that I didn't think I ever would. Let's look at item 1083622. 1083622. When I was with my father, and of course he passed away this past summer, and we were in New Zealand together, we went to a rock shop. And in a place called Natia in the North Island of New Zealand. Wilderness Gems, here's the name of it. I went there. It's easy to know when I went and to remember. It was 30 years ago. 30 years ago. My mom had passed away, and she was supposed to go on the trip, and instead, I got to go with my dad. It was a lifelong dream of his, and we had the best time. We had an amazing time. And of course, from supporting my love of rocks and minerals, he did it even there all the way. Yeah, we went in that rock shop. There weren't too many on both islands, but we went in the ones we could see. We ended up over in Hokitika, where little did he know, he was buying a strand of jade beads to thank his banker for the work she had done in helping him with their accounts after my mom passed away, and she would later become his wife of 30 years. 41 with my mom, 30 years with Karen, and I think if it weren't for her, he would not have made it as many more years as she did. And so I still have New Zealand jade, but it is not in the form of a slab or anything like this. It's in the form of a carved kiwi bird and another carved owl. This is the only way you would ever know that this is New Zealand jade, nephrite jade, if you were not familiar with what all the different jades look like from the different places in the world. I could look at this and tell you, I would know for certain that it wouldn't be a British Columbian nephrite. I, might be saying, it looks kind of a little bit like Wyoming. I may not be able to get New Zealand straight away, but I could probably get it down and then by elimination come pretty close. But this is the original label. And look at this. This is a wonderful, wonderful piece. To get genuine New Zealand jade, they call it greenstone over there, so they can sell you serpentine and not be in trouble because they're just calling it greenstone. This is a wonderful piece of the real stuff. And if you collect different minerals or collect things like jade like I did from all around the world, this was a really good one to be able to get. There's a mining area over near Hokitika, and greenstone was an important part of the Maori culture, the Aboriginal people that lived there. Remember, the dodo bird did live there as well as an 8-foot tall bird called the moa. Both went extinct, but they do have the kiwi bird. Flightless birds, of course, because there was nothing that they needed to fear. There was no snakes, there was no possums, there's no ground animals, and so they didn't need wings until invasive animals came in, unfortunately. I can only charge so much for this. My heart wants to charge a lot more than what the value would probably actually be. But there's a lot of something special in here, and just like that opal that didn't sell, I enjoyed it again long enough. Something told me to put it up to all of you once more, and the right item for the right people at the right time. And so same thing with this. Never know where it leads. I just enjoyed the slab with the sticker on it all these years in my display case, and that's gave me all that I needed from it. Only $48. Only $48, and feel free to cut a stone out of it. Don't just hang on to it like I did. I'm just going to put that in there for just a moment. You can find some other cool stand for it while I get ready to show you the last 4 items of the show. So I'm going to set the first item up here on the side. It's going to be 1084122. Let's have some fun. Yes, I have decided to offer, as part of Thanksgiving, a few more Japanese iridescent rainbow garnets, except these I set aside have something really special about them. They are extremely bright and have beautiful, beautiful, high, natural polish faces to them. The Coast Mine has been closed since 2005. This is an andradite garnet, the finest of its kind. It's a rainbow andradite, as it's referred to. Look at those colors. Look at those colors. And on each face, it can, look at this, just bring you every different color of the rainbow. Different angles, different colors. Look at the greens and goldens there. And these faces were exceptionally bright and well polished. And it's the diffraction of light between layers we'll go into what exactly causes it at another point in time. But this is a opportunity, and I have not changed pricing relative to what you get here after all this time. Only $88. Thank you. Only $88 on that. And again, everyone from Miss Barbara and onwards has commented about just how fortunate they feel to be getting in on these, and for me to have been offering these at the prices I have. If you try to find them, you'll find less than a 1 carat size on the internet that are in that price range. These are stunning. These are stunning and large. That over 5 carat, amazing, just amazing. Now, this, let's see, one of these, hold on, I want to show you. It's this one, 1083922, 1083922. Let me let you enjoy this. Now, I have not offered one quite like this next one before. And what this is a cluster of crystals, and without any one big face. But as Dave takes us in close on this, I'm going to turn this around and let you see just how many different faces of, look at that, reflective color. It is a really neat grouping of garnet, and you can see in my hand the relative size, and each little exposure, depending if you have, see, you didn't think there was color there when I was doing it like that, but turn it like that, look at that. Almost every little place has color if you catch the angle that necessary that reflects that color, like that one little spot right there. And it reflects color, which I just think is so fascinating. Look at that, look at that. That's what I said, they've all, you just have to catch the right angle. Now, it's really just a little cluster, but you can see where another crystal actually popped out of there. So there was another crystal there. Let me put that down, and price on this one, only $38. I made it a super value. Look at the weight, over 6 carat. 38, yeah, amazing opportunity. $38 on that one. Now, let's look at item 1084222. 1084222. And this is one of the biggest and best ways I can ever express thanks to all of you. And that's what this is about. This show is the show before, you're seeing before Thanksgiving. This is the week of Thanksgiving. And I can't just give these to you for free, but by offering them and sharing them with you, that is the next best thing I can do as my way of saying thank you to all of you from all of us here at Gem Shopping. Look at this one. Look at this crystal with the large, beautiful high gloss crystal face. And then look at the blues coming out of that face. Some of the faces of these garnets will have kind of a coating on them. And those of you with faceting machines can use a high, like 14,000 mesh diamond compound and polish some of the that layer, that buildup that forms on those faces. Look at that bronze color. And experiment around. Mining's been closed. In the little prefecture, the little town, I think it's like Tenkawa Village, look at that beautiful blue. It overran, the rockhounds, look at those colors, overran the small town and its ability to keep everyone safe. The deposit was discovered around an old manganite mine, and no one knew it was there. And it turned out to be the world's finest andradite, Japanese rainbow andradite. Now let's do something here. There we go. There's the test that shows you that it's an andradite garnet with an iron content, doing exactly as it should do. And that's being attracted to a magnet, whereas a grossular garnet or other garnets will not. Price on that one, only $48. Only $48. 108-4022. The last item of the show here. And we may have saved the best for the last. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Almost, well, it's a good half of a dodecahedron. And look at that really large, well-formed crystal face. Look at these others. Look at that color. What a beauty. These don't need to have anything else done to them but be put in the mounting the way they are. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Let me get that pointer. Yeah, I didn't think there was any color over here, but I've learned to not think and just turn, because upon turning it, you see, you still think nothing. Yeah, look at that. And then boom, look at that. And then more. Same thing with all of these faces. Very little. Very little has to be done to these before setting. They can just be a simple, look at that color. Look at that color. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even have to be the bright, shiny faces to be able to get a mesmerizing look. There is not even a close second in the andradite world of iridescent garnets to these. Look at that. So take advantage of this. Like I said, it's something that I want to share. I have some of the look at the mirror reflection. Look at those colors, and it would just be wrong if I didn't share them with all of you, and share them at a stunning pricing opportunity. That is one of the nicest ones. Price is only $78. Only $78. You can see the colors emanating from it as it spins around. Take advantage of them, because where else are you going to get them? Where else are you going to get them for that price? One of the rarest natural gems that are beautiful just as they are coming out of the ground. Stunning. We'll be right back with trivia questions. Okay. All of you never fail to disappoint, giving me the sense of joy, love, and passion of my 50-year-long hobby. And I thank you for that. I thank you for keeping that passion going. There's not too much I haven't done. One of the things I'd like to actually have, though, left unfinished, and I even know right where I would like to do it, is have a rock shop. Yeah, it feels like the one thing is unfinished. Bad thing is you have to be retired before you can open the rock shop, because there's usually not a lot of money to be made there. But there's an opportunity that's, I don't know, this still small voice that keeps calling out to me, and to act on it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. And you know, I don't discount anything in life, because you never know what the next day brings. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I cannot thank all of you for your support of not only this show, but Gem Shopping, either directly or indirectly by working with me and supporting me. It helps all of us so that we can help all of you. And I can say with the shortest of noses that Gem Shopping truly offers one of the best values and most education of an item over any other situation, environment, store, person that you could find. And 25 years we've been here. I've been here for over half of it. Asa's been here more than all of it, it seems. And you doing business with Gem Shopping is doing business with a central core group of people that are here because we want to be here, and we enjoy what we do and the products that we offer you. So when you want to get down to where the very beginning of where it all starts, come to Gem Collector Show with Shawn, and I will show you everything from the atom to the molecule to the compound to the crystallographic state of the beautiful mineral and gems that we all love and that you grew up with. Ladies, as a little girl, loving gems and minerals. Guys, as you know, how many times a rock can skip it across the lake. Either way, it's a love for Mother Earth. Stay in touch with Mother Earth. Stay grounded and stay safe. Happy Thanksgiving from our house to your house. And it has meant the world to me to have all of your support. With that said, let's get to 2 trivia questions. You can take notes, don't rewind, no rewinding allowed. So let's see how everybody does. What mineral impurity, this is question number 1, what mineral impurity creates the asterism or star effect in rose quartz? What mineral impurity creates the asterism or star effect in rose quartz? Question number 2. Cerussite. And, you know, I guess it's the teacher in me, just wants to go all on about cerussite now. I say the word, and it's like Pavlov's dog. I'm instantly triggered to start spewing information. And I'm always afraid I'm going to spew the answer and just keep it going on. So that's why I have to write it down and stop myself. Cerussite, which, of course, we talked about and everything, but I'm not going to say anymore, is often formed by the weathering of what other mineral? And you know how I can't help myself but to say it a couple different ways. What other mineral, through the process of weathering of cerussite, that didn't turn out well. So much for reversing it. So stick with what you know. Stick with what you wrote, Shawn. Cerussite is often formed by the weathering of what mineral? There we go. Good luck to all of you. And I hope that you really have so many reasons to be thankful for, and that you find those reasons. And don't forget that the show will be on Tuesday. So Tuesday, not Monday. So Monday, that's the Cyber Monday. You can go and get all that other yucky stuff done. But when you want to have fun and you want to treat yourself to maybe something special, or just some education and a little bit of family entertainment, come to Gem Collector Show with Shawn. I'll be waiting for you. See you Tuesday.